Hello and welcome back. Continuing to look at judicial precedent. So this video is about the Court of Appeal and precedent. So to start off with, just remember the hierarchy of the courts. You have the Supreme Court at the top, then you have the Court of Appeal, and in criminal cases you have the Crown Court and then the Magistrates Court. Sometimes the High Court will hear appeals. So technically it's Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, Criminal Division, and then the Queen's Bench Division of the High Court, the Crown Court, and the Magistrates. And then in civil, you've got the Supreme Court again, and then you have the Court of Appeal, Civil Division, then you have the High Court, then you have the County Court, and then the Magistrates, but they don't really hear many civil cases. So just bear that in mind. The Court of Appeal, we know, has to follow the Supreme Court, which is fine. It's in the hierarchy. The Supreme Court is higher. However, not every single precedent will have reached the Supreme Court. So sometimes a case only goes as far as the Court of Appeal. So the issue we have here is, what do the Court of Appeal do? Well, standard rule, stare decisis, you stand by what has been decided. So the Court of Appeal should follow their own previous decision. And this is based into civil and criminal. So the criminal Court of Appeal follows a previous criminal case, civil follows previous civil. The two divisions don't mix. Okay, so the case of Young versus Bristol Aeroplane Company, you can look up those facts if you are interested, states that sometimes the Court of Appeal does not have to follow its own decisions. So I would start off by saying Court of Appeal has to follow its own previous decisions. However, the case of Young versus the Bristol Aeroplane Company says that sometimes the Court of Appeal does not need to follow its own past decisions. Now, there are three situations, so good structure here. Number one, conflicting Court of Appeal decisions. Well, sometimes they can distinguish between the material facts of a case. So you might have two different precedents kind of on the same issue where it was decided one way in case A and a different way in case B. Well, the Court of Appeal can look and see, shall we follow case A? Is our case at the moment more like A or is it more like B? Oh, we think it's more like B, so let's follow the precedent in B. So the Court of Appeal can choose which one to follow. So it's like A, B, and the current case is C. Which one do they follow? The second Young exception was if the decision, this is an easy one, if the decision was made per incuriam, bit of Latin, which means in error. So if the previous decision was made in error, the Court of Appeal do not have to follow it. That would be like unjust, that would be silly. And then the third exception is when the higher up court, so now the Supreme Court, makes a decision which effectively overrules the Court of Appeal decision. Then they just follow the normal rules of precedent. The case of Rickards said that the Court of Appeal will only be justified in not following its own previous decisions in, quote, rare and exceptional cases. Obviously, there's now an issue of where, what is that? What is a rare and exceptional case? It's the Court of Appeal Criminal Division has to be particularly careful because somebody's liberty is at stake in a criminal case. So that is the Court of Appeal and the three Young exceptions. So one, conflicting Court of Appeal decisions. Two, if the law was made in error. Three, if there's now a Supreme Court precedent that basically overrules the Court of Appeal one. Okay, so tune in for more videos.